Hey everybody, welcome back to Lake Dardanelle here in Russellville, Arkansas. This is the Hobie Bass Open Series anchored by Power Pole, and we just wrapped up an awesome week here in Russellville. The sun has come back out and it is finally beautiful again after a rainy and chilly Friday, a Saturday where the front just kept doing weird things, and today was cold in the morning, storm and heavy wind came through later in the day. But it's finally beautiful again, and we've got 13 of our top placing anglers. We've got our Big Bass winner and our Dakota Lithium's Power Moves winner all here to talk to you today. But before we get into that, we've definitely got to thank some people that made this event happen this weekend. Got to thank Russellville, Arkansas, first and foremost. They are our hosts for this event. They've been amazing to us 2 years in a row. This is definitely a fishing community. Everybody wants to ask about our kayaks and about our tournament. There's people fishing all over the banks here. This is an awesome place to get on the water no matter what you're looking to catch. Make sure you check out Russellville, Arkansas anytime you're around the area or looking for a great destination fishing place to go with your friends and family. Also want to give a big shout out to Dwayne Wally, Attorney X. We rocked his system this weekend and it performed flawlessly. Almost 1,200 fish over 2 days were submitted, and we've got sweet, that worked out well. All right, so also want to give a big thanks to Hobie for allowing us to put on these events for the anglers. The support from Hobie back home is amazing, and the support of the anglers to want to participate in these events has been nothing short of amazing over the last 3 years as well. Thanks to Power Pole, Far Wide, Bassin Magazine, Lowrance, Tacticam, Dakota Lithium, Princeton Tech, Engel Coolers, AFCO, St. Croix Rods, Flambeau, Railblaza, Hobie Eyewear, Daiwa, Marine Mat, and Sunline. They are the sponsors of this series this year. We could not do it without them. Make sure you check out their products at your local retailers or online. They support kayak fishing, and we want to support them. Next event is Lake Hartwell in Anderson, South Carolina. We've almost got 50 anglers already signed up for that event a month out, and it's sure to be a big event, so sign up early. We do have a 200 angler cap. We have never made it there, but there's a lot of chatter that this particular event might max out. Don't miss out on an opportunity to fish one of our biggest events. It'd be our highest payout if we get there, and awesome fishery in Anderson, South Carolina. A few weeks after that, we'll come back to this part of the country, a little further south down in Texas, and be fishing Lake Sam Rayburn out of Jasper. I don't have to tell you much about Sam Rayburn. It's one of the best fisheries in the country, and we can't wait to see what our anglers are going to do down in Texas in early June. And we'll have the event page for that up hopefully by the end of the week. Just a reminder, this is the fourth event of our season. We take your best 3 events for our Angler of the Year race presented by Far Wide. It's the Outdoor Access app. If you haven't checked out Far Wide, you should use it before every event. It helps tell you what is legal and not legal as far as property. It actually showcases some ramps in places that might get you on the water where you couldn't see on other maps. So it is an awesome free app. They're a great supporter of kayak fishing and just the outdoors in general, so check out Far Wide. It'll help get you access to the places you want to go. All right, you all have listened to me talk all weekend. It's time to get these anglers up here and hear about what they were able to do and overcome this weekend to be going home with cash and prizes here on Lake Dardanelle. So first up, the Bassin Magazine Big Bass. Make sure you subscribe to Bassin Magazine to help support their voice, to help grow this sport and fishing in general. They've supported our Big Bass for a couple years now. We've got a $400 check. And that's going to go to an angler. They caught a 21.5-inch largemouth on day 1. Our Tournament of Champions Grand Champion and our winner of Watts Bar, Ryan Lambert.
Thank you, sir.
Ryan, tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from Jasper, Tennessee.
And tell us a little bit about this fish, man. I mean, it seemed like day one was a little tough for you, but you held up the biggest bass that anyone caught this weekend.
This whole week was pretty tough. I thought I was going to get to pre-fish, and it didn't really pan out. So I just looked at the map on Friday night and thought that I had an area that was going to hold numbers. It didn't actually hold any water, which was an issue. But while I was running around looking for some water, I started throwing a buzzbait, and it was like one of those floating vegetation mats out there. And I ran that buzzbait just around the contour, and I saw the entire mat move, and I was like, uh-oh. So I held on real tight, and she came all the way out of the water and choked it. It was awesome.
Couldn't maybe reproduce that anymore? Was that it? Just that one fish?
I just cast that one time, went back to the truck. That was pretty much good. Me and Arkansas, we have a real love-hate relationship, so I was just targeting that one fish, and that was it.
Well, got you some lunch money to head back to Tennessee with, man.
Yes,
anybody
sir.
you want to thank?
Yeah, I mean, Dugout Bait and Tackle, Calcoast, Z-Man, Shimano, my family for putting up with me doing all this crazy stuff. Had a good time on the water. Got to drag Christine back to the ramp this afternoon in some wind and waves. That's kind of one of the cool things about what we do is you never know when it's going to be your turn to be on the receiving end of some help out there. So shout out to all y'all for being part of this.
Coming to Hartwell?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
I'm going to try. It's Cam's graduation for nurse practitioner program, so we're going to have to feel that one out.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, good luck and safe travels back home.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we've got the Dakota Lithium's Power Move. We award this to the angler that makes the biggest jump from day one to day two. It's pretty cool that we have got these products with us now and we can actually communicate and hear the story of this angler. This particular angler had 73 and a quarter on day one, and they were in 67th place. And they put up 91 and a half today, jumped to 18th place. Mr. Johnny Maddox. Johnny, tell everybody where you're from.
Bryant, Arkansas.
Bryant, Arkansas. Do you get out here to Lake Dardanelle very, very often?
We've had our state championship here a couple times, and it's I was able to pre-fish probably 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you find on day two that wasn't available on day one? Tell us a little bit about that big jump. That was the second biggest limit of the entire tournament.
Well, my pre-fishing, it was the water was a lot higher, and when I got there on day one, it was probably 3-4 foot lower than what it was on pre-fishing. So I was kind of lost and scrambled the whole day just to get my limit. And on today, the water was coming in, so that brought the level up just a little bit, enough to move the fish up to where they were before. So.
Awesome, man. Well, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I give a shout out to my dad. I mean, he's the reason why I do what I do. I mean, grew up fishing, and shout out to the KBA boys back in Little Rock area.
Awesome, man. Well, hopefully we'll see you again at another event. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I'm going to do Sam Rayburn probably.
Awesome, man. Well, you got some good points in this event, and it only takes 3 to count for your Angler of the Year and potentially qualify for Tournament of Champions. So we'll look forward to seeing you down there in June.
All right. Thanks.
All right, guys, y'all heard me talk all weekend about how close this event was going to be, and it was going to come down to quarter inches and ties, and our top 13 definitely has that. Our first angler that's going to get paid, they barely beat out our 14th place angler by a quarter inch, so you're going to hear me tell you that throughout this next 13 as far as what the difference between these places were. But this particular angler edged him out 86 and a half on day one, 80 and 3/4 on day two for 167 and a quarter total, taking home $850. Ron Champion.
Thanks, sir.
Ron, you didn't quite believe me when I said you were invited back to But tell us a little bit. First, tell us where you're from.
I'm from Richmond Hill, Georgia.
And you were in the top 13 before we shut out the leaderboard, and I'm sure you just expected that there would be a lot more fish coming in, but that didn't happen, man. You definitely put up enough today to squeak into the money. Tell us a little bit about your time here in Russellville.
I've had a great, I've been here 6 days. Fished for 5 of those days, probably caught 150 plus fish in those 5 days on the water. Just never could run in no big fish. I think my biggest fish of the tournament was like 18 inches, but I had the numbers. It just didn't pan out. I watched my day go. I was on fire this morning. I put a quick limit up, within probably the first hour, and it slowly kept going down that leaderboard all day long. So it was fun though. Had a good time.
Well, you definitely got a good finish. Got some great points for the Angler of the Year race. You got second place last year. I know you're looking forward to making a run at the Angler of the Year presented by Far Wide again. Mm-hmm. You want to thank anybody?
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to come to this tournament. My wife actually, I've been doing a lot of work. We bought a new house, so I've been working around there, and she's like, look, you've been working hard. She said, go. She said, you got time, go. So I was like, all right. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have came. So I'll thank my wife and thank all of my sponsors. There's no way I could travel and do what I do without them. I want to thank you and thank Hobie for running an amazing series. I know how much work you put into this, and everybody in here and all the anglers that are on the road right now, we appreciate having the opportunity to come out and fish such an amazing series. But I thank you.
Well, we thank you for being here, man. I know it was a lot of miles that you put in for this event, just like all those other anglers, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So thank you, and safe travels home.
Appreciate it.
See you next time. Yes, sir. All right, 12th place by a half inch, 79.5 on day one, 88.25 today for 167 3/4, taking home $900. Russ Snyder's. Russ, tell everybody where you're from.
From Nashville, Tennessee.
And tell us a little bit about your week here on Lake Dardanelle.
Really fun week. I was looking forward to getting back up to Dardanelle, especially this time of year. Tournament last year was a lot of fun, and it's a really cool place. It kind of plays into my strengths, which is just shallow water, power fishing. That's what I was doing, a lot of that pre-fishing. Well, the water was obviously a lot higher, and I was covering a lot of water, getting them on reaction dates, and seemed tournament day with both days, the colder weather and the water dropping. Definitely had to slow down a lot more today. Got most of them on a Senko. Both days I got one on a buzz bait within the first 5 minutes. A couple on spinnerbait, but I didn't get many fish either. I think I only got 7 keepers all day yesterday, and only got 6 keepers all day today. So lucky I was just around some better than average size fish, I guess.
No doubt, man. I mean, you definitely, you had a decent day yesterday, but 88.25 is one of our top limits that we saw all weekend. So, congrats for grinding it out a little bit more on day 2 and finding those right bites to elevate you into the top 13 and go home with a check. Is there anybody that you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my sponsors, iRod Fishing, Dakota Lithium, Torquedo. Also like to thank Hobie and UAJ and the rest of the staff. You guys, like Ron said, did such a great job. Everything always runs flawlessly, and we all appreciate all the hard work you guys put in.
Well, we definitely do it for you guys, and we appreciate y'all, burning these roads up to come and fish these events all over the country. So, you looking forward to Hartwell?
Oh yeah, can't wait.
Awesome, man. Well, we'll see you there.
All right, thanks, AJ.
By another half inch, 11th place, 85 on day 1, 83.25 today for 168.25, taking home $950. Jay Wallen.
Hello, sir.
Hey, man.
Hey,
Good to see you.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, man. Tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from Pikeville, Kentucky.
And how was your week this time at Lake Dardanelle?
It's spectacular. I used to hate Arkansas because I was always driving through it to go to Texas, and I never really came west. And now that I've been here a couple times, this place is fantastic. I can't wait to come back. It's a good fishery.
And, you fished it last last fall, and now you're back in the spring. What did you think about the spring fishing here?
It was a little different than I thought, but some of the grass hasn't really come in like the way I saw it in September. So definitely a little bit different, but the fishing's just so much better than it was in September.
What did you do this weekend to catch them?
I caught all of my fish on one G. Loomis NRX rod. One rod. I brought half a dozen or more out with me, and I used one rod the whole time. Caught them all on the same bait. I mean, I don't know why I bring a whole truck full of stuff, but
Well, you just never know.
you never know.
Never know.
Yeah.
Was there anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank my wife Casey, who's at home, and also want to thank I have some sponsors that really support me: Calco's Fishing, Shimano, G. Loomis. I was actually on my soft plastic. I was hosing them down with JB's fish sauce. I don't know if it made a difference, but they liked it. So JB's fish sauce is definitely playing a role out there on the water. Calco's Fishing, appreciate them too. Yep.
Awesome,
It's a
man.
good time.
You looking forward to Lake Hartwell?
I'll be there.
All right, man. We'll
Yep.
see you there.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks. All right, top 10. Also separated by a quarter of an inch. 88 on day 1, 80 and a half on day 2 for 168 and a half, taking home $1,000, Eric Morris. Eric, tell everybody where you're from.
Benton, Arkansas.
Do you get out to Lake Dardanelle too often?
About once a week this time of year.
Okay. So what makes this place special this time of year?
Once those pads start coming up, it just turns into the best fishery you could ever have. I mean, it's just nonstop for the rest of the year. So
Were you able to kind of find the pattern that you were hopeful to find this particular weekend?
for the last 3 weeks, I've been on the same bait. I've only used one bait all 3 weeks that I've been pre-fishing. Last week we had a local event with Natural State Kayak Anglers. I got first place in it. So just that one bait's been working for me. So
I still worked this weekend despite some of the changes in conditions.
yeah. The only problem that I did have is I put up in the upper end the first day, and I just fished one cove, and I ended up pretty much catching all the fish out of that cove. I went back there today thinking that I could probably get a few more out of there. I talked to you about it yesterday, and only caught 2 fish. So I came all the way back down to the other end. So I loaded up within 2 hours and drove another hour just to get to this other spot. So
What you made it happen, man? You ended up cracking the top 10 and getting a check. Anybody you want to thank for that opportunity?
Natural State Kayak Anglers, H24 Outdoors, She Angler Custom Baits, Mega Chomp Lures, my family, of course, and that's about it.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate having you here this weekend and look forward to seeing you at another one.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, man. All right, 9th place by a ½ inch. 86 3/4 on day 1, 82 1/4 today for 169, taking home $1,050, Jackson Orr. Jackson, tell everybody where you're from, bud.
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
And how was Lake Dardanelle to you this weekend?
It was awesome. I really enjoyed my time here. Was grateful to get in. Wednesday night, fished Thursday and Friday, and caught them all day Thursday, and caught them all day Friday. In multiple areas, I fished a lot of bluffs, ripraps, and shallow flats, and I mean, they were there.
Awesome, man. You know, you got to fish here before, and you know, you came back. Did you expect to find them the way you did? I mean, how did that play out for you?
Yeah, so when I came here last fall, I flipped a lot, and you know, I really wanted to find something different than grass, so that's why I tried to find bluffs and riprap. But unfortunately, during the tournament time, the fish weren't there a lot of the time, so I had to stick to those flats and grass.
Yeah. You looking forward to Lake Hartwell?
I am. I'm going. Yep.
Nice, man. Well, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I have so many amazing sponsors. You can't see them with my bibs on right now, but I'm very, very thankful for all my sponsors. You know, my family, my mom, dad, my extended family, and for my dad letting me drive his truck around and fishing a different launch than him. And then, of course, the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and Hobie and everyone. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. Well, we appreciate you being here, and congrats on a great
Thank you.
finish. Eighth place, 86 on day one, 85 3/4 today for 171 3/4, taking home $1,100. Cody Milton. Cody, tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from Searcy, Arkansas.
How far away is that from Lake Dardanelle?
It's about probably an hour, 15 minutes or so from here. Like 2 hours from the upper end. So.
You get out here too often?
It's been a long time, honestly. I probably learned how to frog fish. I learned how to do a lot of things on this lake when I was younger, and it was cool. It was pretty full circle. I hadn't really fished a tournament on it, and I guess we fished one last year. But other than that, man, I hadn't been here in 5 or 6 years, so it was fun. I didn't get to explore much last year, and kind of got to check on some old stuff again this year, and it was cool. We had a pretty fun week here.
Yeah, Arkansas's got a great kayak fishing community, and they've got a lot of really good lakes that just don't always get the national recognition, but Arkansas is the central location, and it just continues to invite us to come back into this area. And so far these lakes have shown out really well for us, and I'm sure we'll be back to Arkansas, and whether it's this fishery or another one in the near future to showcase more of this state. Is there what did you find this particular week to help you crack the top 10?
Man, honestly, I think it was just, for me, I caught them it was different yesterday, different today, different this morning. It was just, it's probably one of the best junk fisheries, in the country. It's you could fish offshore all week this week, or you could have punched, you could have crankbait, anything. And I was doing a little bit of all of it, and it was just, man, I was just bouncing around. I caught fish on a road bed today. I caught fish flipping, throwing a spinner bait. I don't know, just trying to kind of know you're in a good area and just get everything you can out of it was probably pretty much what I did.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Anybody you want to thank?
Fish USA and Dakota Lithium and Catch Outdoors. They've really been helping me a lot this year. And hopefully it'll keep me going at Hartwell. I'll be there pretty soon.
Awesome, man. We look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be a little different fishery compared to this, but I think our anglers are up for the challenge.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
All right, separated by a 1/4 inch. We actually had a tie for 6th and 7th with 172 inches. The way we break ties is by big fish. Both of these anglers actually had fish over 20 1/4 inches also, which weren't super common in this event. There were a few, but not a lot. So in 7th place, 85 3/4 to day one, 86 1/4 on day two. Their total was 172, but they had the smaller of the 20 inchers at a 20 1/4, but they're still taking home $1,200. Francis Tran. Congratulations, man.
Appreciate it.
Tell everybody where you're from.
For Starkville, Mississippi.
All right, and you came out and fished with us last year at this venue. So were you excited to see it back on the schedule?
I was. I had a little unfinished business from last year. Day two, I only caught 4 fish, and if I had one more, I would have cast a check.
No doubt, man. Well, you definitely took care of business. How did you make it happen this weekend?
So I went back to the same area I fished last year, and I kind of made the mistake last year of I kind of gambled a little bit, and I went to a different area to see if I could catch some fish. And luckily, the area still had fish, and I went in there day one and caught a quick limit in the morning, and then luckily I caught a kicker at the end or around lunchtime. That was about almost 20 inches. And then today, my 5th fish was that 20 1/4. And so I caught him early, and I was like, maybe I'm going to try to make a run at first place. So I made a 2.5 mile run. Then the wind picked up late, and I pre-fished there on Thursday, and I found some spawning fish, actually. And I was like, all right, if they're still there, maybe we can do it. And then I got there, and it got windy. I fished for probably 10, 15 minutes, and I was like, okay, don't leave fish to go find fish. So then I went back, and then I caught another, I think I upgraded another inch, so it worked out.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, ties, happen in this game a little bit, but you ended up on the other side of that tiebreaker, but taking home $1,200. Got some great points. You know, you fish quite a few events with us throughout the year, so this is an awesome finish. And you know, where will we see you again?
So I told myself that if I do well here, then I'll have to go fish Sam Rayburn. So you'll see me there.
Yeah, I mean, 7th is really well. So we look forward to seeing Sam Rayburn. Is anybody you want to thank in the meantime?
Yeah, just my friends and family. Shout out to the Bayou Coast guys down in Louisiana. I fish a lot of my tournaments with them, and I don't think if I joined their club that I would even be kayak fishing. So yeah, shout out to those guys. My fiance, she calls me tournament day and wishes me luck, so I think that helped out today. But yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate it. Congrats on getting into the top 10 and going home with the check. We'll see you at Sam Rayburn.
Appreciate it.
Before we jump into the other side of that tie, I want to make a note. I mean, he mentioned his local fishing club. Local fishing clubs are where most everybody in this room, including me as the tournament director, started. If you're looking to get into kayak fishing, start with your local fishing clubs. There's a few in every state. There's always people that are willing to help guide you to those clubs, and it's a great way to meet like-minded individuals to help grow the sport. And then year or two down the road, you have opportunities to go fish national events and feel comfortable doing it. And you know, you meet some great people along the way. So definitely check out your local fishing clubs. On the other side of that tie, this angler had 85 1/4, 86 3/4 on day 2. Had 20 3/4 inch as his big fish, taking home $1,300, Craig Wood. Craig, tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from Prairie Grove, Arkansas.
Then do you also get out here as often as some of these other Arkansas guys?
Not as often as I'd like, but I love the fishery. And it's more of a shallow water lake, and I'm used to fishing highland reservoirs, so it's a little different, but I love it.
Yeah, well, how did it play out for you this weekend?
Well, I mean, here, once I figured out that there was a lot of shallow water fish, I just kind of concentrated on heavy cover and just tried to fish where other people might not fish. And it kind of worked out in the same place on both days, and I just try to get fishing as deep as I can in heavy cover.
Nice. Well, tell us a little bit about your big fish, your 20 3/4.
Yeah,
that fish ended up being worth an extra $100. So how did that fish play out for you?
Well, this morning when I took off, I passed a little point that I think everybody passes on the way out from the ramp. And there's a little stump on the right and a little clump of grass. And I just kind of looked at it and I thought, well, what the heck? I threw it over there. It landed. I started to reel and pedal away. And all of a sudden my line was taken off. So I yanked it, and it was the 20 3/4. I was like, unbelievable.
Yeah, a little bit of luck goes a long way.
There was a little luck there.
sometimes.
Yeah, there was one sitting on that point.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and Slowtown Custom Lures for building me great lures. And they're local out of Fayetteville. And Trinity Fishing Rods and NSKA, Northwest Arkansas, and Hobie, of course. I fish out of a Hobie and love it.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you being here. Congratulations on a great finish, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, thanks,
Thanks,
AJ.
man. In the 5th spot, separated by a 1/2 inch, 87 1/2 on day 1, 85 today for 172 1/2, taking home $1,500, Dwayne Beatty. Oh man, you got the Whataburger flag up.
Yeah.
You're making me hungry. Where's the closest Whataburger?
I think there is one here.
In Russell. All right. That's what's for dinner, Esther. Tell everybody where you're from, Dwayne.
I'm from Siloam Springs, Arkansas.
Okay. And you know, here we are in Arkansas on Lake Dardanelle. How did it play out for you this week?
I found a lot of fish in practice, and they stayed the same. The falling water and everything. I was throwing a swim jig around some spawning fish that were up against the grass, like that bulrush looking grass, and nobody was fishing. I mean, they were fishing that, but they were fishing it slow. But I was taking that swim jig by there and just getting hammered when, even after after the water dropped a foot, everything, they were still there. So it was pretty awesome. And on the first day, I caught a few on a frog, and that's always good.
So you were fishing behind quite a few people. Was there a lot?
Oh yeah, there
heavy
was a
pressure?
lot of, there was 13 people launched at our ramp. So yeah, it was pretty crowded.
Well, it's definitely, you found a different way to hit them that other people weren't, and it definitely worked out for you, man. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my wife. I would like to thank Catch Outdoors, Dakota Lithium, and all my sponsors.
Awesome, man. We gonna get to see you again this year?
I've got to check in 2 of them, so I've got to fish at least 1 more.
That's right. Well,
I'm either going to Texas or La Crosse, maybe.
All right. Well, it sounds like both of those places you might get to throw a frog and or a swim jig.
Absolutely.
So we'll see if that pattern holds out for you on either of those. So always good to see you up here, Dwayne. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, just thank you and Hobie for everything that you guys do for us.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate the support.
Thanks.
All right, guys. So we've got the top 4. Three of our top 4 from day 1 represent these next 4 anglers. And then we've got the guy that put up over 92 today. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. 3/4 of an inch separates all 4 of these anglers. The good news for all of them, though, is they're all going to Lake Eufaula in Alabama for the Tournament of Champions. So they all got qualified because one of them has already punched their ticket this season. So in 4th place, one of our day 1 leaders, 89 inches. They put up 85.5 today for 174.5, taking home $1,800. Brian Delahunty. Brian, 4th place, a good check, and a TOC qualification, man. How's that feel?
Time to drive home. I mean,
well, where is home? Tell everybody where you're home.
Live in a little town called Fife, Alabama. 20 minutes over the hill from Lake Gunnersville.
All right. Well, that's not a bad place to be, man. Tell us about your fishing experience on Lake Dardanelle this week.
Well, I wanted to come here to forget my Dardanelle experience from last year. Learned a lot here last year, especially with pre-fishing. I think they just drop the water every Saturday here when there's a tournament. I didn't know that last year. So this year, I decided to, I think Russ had mentioned, fish to my strengths, which is shallow water. When I was doing research, and from what I learned last year, I found some, you call them sloughs or sloughs. Basically, if you try to paddle into them, it just looks like all mud with the bulrushes on the side. But I noticed on Google Earth that 2 of them had different colored water in the back, in the middle for a long stretch. So I found a muddy dirt road on Far Wide, took my 4-wheel drive down there, and the locals had made a little dirt ramp. And when you go back in there, in each of them, there's a trench. One's about 150 yards, it's about 200 yards long. That's almost 20 foot deep. But you have to go back there to find it. And so on Tuesday and Thursday pre-fishing, I was just pitching the bulrushes because the water was up, and I was catching all males, no females. They were just back there getting ready. And I figured, well, if I can get 17s and 18s, maybe I'll get a check. So, and I figured if they drop the water, they don't have to go far because the banks are pretty steep. They're just going to slide down a little bit. It wasn't a big flat. And that's exactly what happened. Yesterday morning, I caught a couple pitching on the bulrushes, but then they were out of the water. The bulrushes were out of the water. And they just all had moved down right on the edge of the, and plus the water was moving yesterday. Today, so when that happened, had to slow down, TRD, Tokyo rig. Today the water wasn't moving where I was, so I was very happy when the wind started blowing. That's when the bike turned on. And
yeah, man, that's awesome. Definitely put in the work to find the areas, and you made it happen while you were there. Now, how do you feel about being qualified for Lake Eufaula in Alabama?
Oh, awesome. That's the whole reason I do is to get points to go to the TOC.
Well, not only do you have points, you're qualified for the TOC, but now you have some good points, and you're in a position to make a run for the Far Wide Angler of the Year race, which has the opportunity for 3 people to qualify for the Hobie Fishing Worlds, and got some great prizes and cash with that program. So you've had a great start to the season, 2 really good finishes in our 4 events so far. What's the next event we're going to see at?
South Carolina.
Okay, Lake Hartwell.
Yeah.
Anybody you want to thank?
So thank my friends and family, a couple people in particular. Somebody I never met, you may know Mitchell White. I had an issue, the reason I didn't pre-fish Wednesday, I needed a part. I didn't even know him. I called Brian Tacey at Strictly Sail. He got a hold of Mitchell White. He had the part overnighted, got it fixed, was back on the water Thursday. Never even met the guy in person to thank him. And a couple of my friends from Kentucky, Adam and Paul, and Hernan from Wisconsin, they're a big, my little support group, especially after day 1 when I was tied in 3rd place there and starting to lose my mind, and they calmed me down and made me not drink, so.
Awesome, man. Well, we look forward to seeing you in South Carolina. Congratulations on a great finish and a great check, and safe travels going home.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, 3rd place. 1/4 inch. 89 on day 1. 85 3/4 today. For 174 3/4, taking home $2,200. Kevin Workman.
Am I supposed to hold this?
Yes, sir. This one too. Kevin, tell everybody where you're from, man.
I'm from Fremont, Nebraska.
And how was your experience this week on Lake Dardanelle?
It was a great experience. Pre-fishing was really good. I actually got off the lake Wednesday and didn't get back on until tournament day. Just let my spot kind of rest. And they dropped the water. The fish moved a little bit deeper, and I just picked apart wood with a jig and a Texas rig and just stayed at it.
Nice, man. What's your obviously you had a good tournament here, but what would you tell people about coming to Lake Dardanelle and a little bit about the fishing here?
The area in general is just amazing. We're staying at a winery that's pretty awesome, and just a pretty area. The fishing is great. I came down here last year and had a really good experience. I was 1 fish short of cashing a check last year, so came back and made it happen.
Yeah, definitely. It feels good to get a little redemption, man. How, what are you thinking about for the next BOS event? You're going to show up in 3rd place, some strong points.
I'll be at Sam Rayburn.
Okay.
So.
All right. That's a big fish factory, potential for some of our biggest fish ever put into a tournament, and, maybe the biggest 5-fish limit we've ever seen. But you were at the Tournament of Champions last year. You punched your ticket to the Tournament of Champions on Lake Eufaula in November in Eufaula, Alabama. How you feel?
I feel great. Pressure's kind of off on that, so hopefully I can do well the rest of the year.
Awesome, man. Well, we know you work hard at it, and we definitely appreciate all the support. Anybody you want to thank?
I'd like to thank my family for letting me come do this, and my friends who support me, and my local Hobie dealer, Select Sail and Sport. They always take great care of us, make sure we have everything that we need. So, I guess that's it.
Awesome, man. Well, congrats and safe travels back home.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right, 2nd place. Separated by 1/4 inch. 82 3/4 on day 1, 92 1/4 today for 175, taking home $3,650. Brian Howe.
Thank you.
Got some more hardware for the season.
Yep.
Brian Howe's coming out. He had a 1st place at Lake Seminole, holds the record for our biggest limit we've ever seen, and had the biggest limit of this event to make a big jump into 2nd place, man. How's it feel?
It feels awesome. I didn't expect to be able to move up the leaderboard that far, honestly.
Well, what happened today? I mean, you obviously, didn't have a bad day one at all, but you caught some good fish today. Did you change areas, or did fish just move into where you were fishing?
I think it was kind of both. Like I did most of my damage in one little area that I didn't really fish very much yesterday. I pulled in there today, and it seemed like there were a lot more fish in there, and I just ran into a little stretch where I had 3 over 18 in maybe 30 minutes. And got a couple other nice ones, culled maybe once or twice. And then after that, it just shut off. And I didn't have I had a couple small ones in the last 2 hours, but other than that, no big bites.
Tell us a little bit about Lake Dardanelle, your experience out here as far as just the way this fishery sets up and how it plays to your strengths a little bit.
Well, this is, it's a really fun lake. Like, I love coming here. Last year I did well on day one, and I kind of got spun out and screwed up on day two, and it cost me, but both times I've had a lot of fun. I was really looking forward to this event so I could get redemption. And if you like fishing shallow, this is the lake for you. You can catch shallow fish here all year round, and if you like fishing deep too, I'm sure there's plenty of brush piles and stuff like that I've heard of. But shallow fishing is more what I like to do, so I love this lake.
Nice. Well, some of the guys, when we came in September, they were talking about that we were just a little late for the deep ledge bite. So apparently there's definitely a river ledge bite that goes on here in the middle of the summer, and like you said, there's some brush piles out there. But we've hit it 2 times of the year where shallow is kind of what the pattern is, and our anglers were able to make that happen. So you've got a first and a second that you're really banking on for your far wide angler of the year race. What's the next event that these anglers are going to have to compete against you at?
Sam Rayburn.
Now you're in Texas now, is where you live. Do you get down to Sam Rayburn very often?
Usually maybe 2-3 times a year. Not that often, but enough to somewhat know the lake.
Give us a little sales pitch, man. What do people have to look forward to if they're on the fence about coming to Sam Rayburn?
Well, you can fish however you want out there, pretty much. If you like punching, you can punch. If you like fishing pads, flipping bushes, brush piles offshore, whatever, you can do it there, and you'll catch giants too doing it. It's not like you go to you're catching numbers. You can catch numbers too, but there's a lot of giants in that lake.
So what I'm hearing is that Sam Rayburn doesn't need a sales pitch. It's Sam Rayburn, and
you
just need to come on.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, from what I'm hearing, there's gonna be a lot of people signed up for that one.
We're looking forward to getting down there. I know that community hasn't hosted a big kayak tournament or a national kayak tournament before, and they're really excited to work with us this year, and we can't wait to show them what the Hobie Bass Open Series is all about, and then let that fishery be showcased through our anglers. But man, we'll look forward to seeing you there. And anybody you want to thank?
I have to thank my wife always first. That's the most important. And then all my friends in California and Texas. Dobbins rods. I caught all my fish on Dobbins rods today and yesterday. And then Mariner Sales in Dallas. They were able to get me my accessories that I needed for this event the day before I left and came out here. So, yep.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations on another awesome finish. You're having a great start to the season, and we can't wait to see how that all plays out through our Angler of the Year race throughout the year, and we'll see you in Texas.
All right. Thank you.
All right, first place was kind of hiding behind that three-way tie at first on day one, but it was only a 1/4 inch back with 88 3/4. Put up 86.5 today. Had one slide in after the leaderboard got turned off. Put up 175 1/4, taking home $6,700. Nick Chaveria.
Wow, thank you. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Nick, tell everybody where you're from.
Coming from St. Louis, Missouri, originally from the Chicago area, and lived down in Louisiana for some time too, so a little bit all over.
All right. Well, man, you won. You're the winner, man. Tell us a little bit about your week. I mean, you had a consistent, from our angle, you had a pretty consistent bite as far as the way your totals were. Just walk us through your week and your day one, and you know, some people don't always want to be in that first spot on day one. They like to be within striking distance. You were as close as you literally could be, and you made it happen, man. Walk us through that.
Yeah, you know, so I got here on Friday, had about a half day to pre-fish, you know, before the rain got in, and, you know, found some stuff before I came on a Navionics app that really came in handy. And, you know, that area turned out to hold some good fish. You know, had a couple decent bites in practice and shook some more off. I checked out some other areas, but nothing really else produced. And, you know, Dardanelle really seems to play into my strength. I love shallow water fishing. I love throwing a chatterbait and just fishing shallow. And, you know, it really kind of panned out, even with that water dropping.
No doubt, man. Well, and that was what it took, chatterbait?
It was a chatterbait all weekend. Chatterbait all weekend.
Are we talking like original chatterbait, or are we talking like jackhammer?
Chatterbait custom.
Okay.
Tackle Warehouse. And, you know, it was a weird thing. I couldn't get shallow enough for these fish. Literally, you know, watch them wake after it most of the time. And, you know, kind of flipping those bulrushes in the mud. And like a couple other guys mentioned, it didn't really look like much. But if, you know, there were some deeper areas near those shallow pockets, those fish seemed to be holding. And, you know, hit the same stuff that I did on day one today, and you know, still produced some fish. I had that late call. You know, I was fishing mostly about a mile from where I launched, and you know, fished new water today a little bit, but started to make my way back to the ramp with about an hour and a half left, and you know, knew it was going to be pretty close, and just didn't like what I was seeing where I was at, and decided to make the mile back. I paddle too. I paddle up about a mile. And get back to the area where I caught some good ones, and that one came about 250. So,
man, that is awesome. I see the Buff, man. Is that your local club?
So I got a couple local clubs. First of all, I started with Bam Bassin down in Louisiana. If you guys are from Louisiana or fish down there, you got to check them out. It's a really great club. And then now in Missouri, I fish with Kayak Anglers in Missouri. Fished a couple events with them last year, and we'll do so this year as well. So.
You're also qualified for the Tournament of Champions on Lake Eufaula in November. Now, we don't know exactly how that pattern's going to play out. It really could be a weather-dependent thing, but you know, that fishery is also known to produce really well shallow water. Obviously, that could be certain times of year, but how does that feel to be qualified for a 50 angler championship that's going to pay out over $75,000?
Oh, it's just incredible. I mean, you know, I came here this weekend just, you know, telling myself just going to go fish and have fun, and you know, found the right ones, and you know, to be able to do this and take home the championship, it's real special.
Awesome, man. Anybody you want to thank?
Thank my girlfriend for letting me come fish for 3 days. I appreciate that. And of course, Hobie, you guys put on an outstanding event. This is my second BOS that I fish, and it's been a great experience. My family, of course, and you know, my guys from back at Bam Bassin and Kayak Anglers in Missouri.
We're gonna get to see you before Eufaula?
Maybe Wisconsin or Tennessee.
Okay.
Hopefully, we'll see, and then try my best to make it down to Alabama. So.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing you there. Congratulations on a big win. I mean, there were so many amazing anglers in this event, just like all the other Hobie Bass Open Series events. To cash a check in one of these events is one of the most difficult things to do in kayak fishing, and you're holding up the big one, man. Congratulations.
That's awesome. Great week for everyone. Congrats.
Yeah. All right, guys, before we get off of here, I just want to make a note of a couple things that Dick just mentioned. You know, he had a half a day to pre-fish. You know, we hear all the time people are not able to pre-fish enough to come be competitive in this series, and would love to just let you know that it doesn't take a full week. It sometimes just takes a half a day or a half an hour to find the fish that you need to be competitive in one of these events. He spent a half day on the water and goes home with a $6,700 check. So big congrats to him for putting in that work and making it happen. And, you know, if you're on the fence about fishing one of these events, it's still just fishing. You still just got to catch them. Anything that happens Monday through Friday doesn't always apply, and it definitely doesn't count for Saturday and Sunday. So come out and fish with us. Let us show you what the Hobie Bass Open Series is all about. Big thanks to Russellville, Arkansas. Thanks to all of the friends and family of all these anglers that shared and supported them in this event all weekend. You all make this thing so special and get more eyes on these anglers, and that's what this is all about. sign up for Lake Hartwell. Keep an eye open for the sign-ups for Sam Rayburn. We can't wait to update our far-wide Angler of the Year points and keep this season rolling. Thank you, guys.